How would you read into China's statements that is put out from the Foreign Ministry? We've seen it from the Chinese Embassy, as well as from Rear Admiral Hu Gangfeng, who is leading the Chinese delegation here. What sort of signal do you think China is sending to the U.S.?
I think it's a necessary response to what Secretary of Defense Haig said yesterday, because I have been attending this Shangri-La Dialogue for 12 years, so nothing really is very much new to me. But this one still has caught my attention in that I think it is a bit ideological. Yeah. I don't remember in the past I have ever heard American Secretary of Defense describing China as a communist China, right? So this kind of tone is pitched a bit too high, but I also have seen a kind of a worry, yeah, which is underneath his speech, because apparently his assessment of the regional situation is quite contrary to that of his predecessor, Lord Austin. Lord Austin said in 2023 and 2024 that he believed a conflict is not imminent or inevitable. But Haig said that he believes it is imminent, but hope it will not happen. So this is a change of 180 degrees.
But you mentioned that it's unlikely that tensions will be escalated because of speeches. But here in this speech by the U.S. Defense Secretary, you're saying that you're seeing a difference, a shift in the position, perhaps under the new Trump administration. So how much of this exchange that we are seeing in the last 2 days do you think is going to affect the calculus or the discussions that are taking place within China's military or its Central Military Commission or the Chinese leadership?
Well, you see, predicting this administration is a bit difficult in that Trump would like to play with his, tactics or strategy of being unpredictable. So, for example, here, Secretary of Defense talked about the importance of allies and importance of alliance, right? And this kind of talking is very much like those of his predecessors. But given that Vice President J.D. Vance gave another totally different speech at the Munich Security Conference, which is like a stab in the back of the allies. So now we're actually having, two stories of alliance. So which one to believe? Yeah. So therefore, I believe what China should do is to maintain calm and do not, dance with the wind. This is actually what we have seen, for example, in the first round of the tariff war. Who has blinked? It's not China, right? And it's because this kind of demand is crazy, and people eventually will come to rationality. So I think in the first round of this so-called duel, China has won.
But do you think one of the things that we have been talking about here is the absence of the Chinese defense minister at the Shangri-La Dialogue. Previously, at this time, on the final day of the dialogue, we would hear from the Chinese defense minister at a plenary session, but because of the lower representation this time, that is not happening. Last year, we also saw multiple press briefings from Chinese defense officials. Do you think that is affecting the narrative that China is hoping to put out, and or is this a calculated decision by Beijing?
Well, in a way, you're right, because without the presence of Chinese defense minister, of course, Chinese voice won't be strong, too strong, right? So there is no press briefing. That is understandable, because there is no need, because it always comes with the seniority of the delegation. But I don't believe that China's voice is not heard, because on the policy issues, I think people are quite familiar with China's policies. And what makes Chinese policy different from Americans is that they are very much consistent. Yeah, and they are at least heard and understood. So for us, we understand how you think about it, being here in Singapore, because this dialogue is normally attended by all the defense ministers of the Western countries, right? So this has become a standard practice. But for China, it is from time to time. Historically speaking, Chinese defense minister only attended 5 times. Yeah, but for us, it's not a big issue because for us, this is just one of the forums that China could come and spread, its voice and opinions. But it's not a must. Yeah, for example, China has also its own Shanghai Forum, which actually is less influential than this one, but it is still growing. So if people go there, I'm sure Chinese defense minister is standing there smiling, waiting to shake hands with visitors.